Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So quite excited because I think I said in my last video that I kind of worked away all weekend really, kind of trying to come up with some new sort of ideas and things, and I finally have come up with some. So I've already done obviously my bursting blooms envelope, you know, which was on hopefully my last episode. And the next idea that I have come up with, in fact, let me turn this over so that it's a white space that you're looking at rather than just mess everywhere. So the next idea that I've come up with are these, which are belly bands basically. So they are blooming belly bands. If I bring a journal back in, so again this is just kind of a blank journal that I've kind of got ready to stuff, and I will show you kind of how these look, and then we'll have a play and make some. So this is the first one, and that would obviously just glue into the journal there. So I'm struggling a little bit today with space. I've tried to kind of move my camera slightly, and now let me just kind of try and move it slightly over. So obviously this would be glued down kind of either side and then attached into your journal like that, and then you would obviously, you know, slot your tags in like that. So I think they're really pretty. You could obviously put them anywhere on the page, so you could put them low down if you wanted them, kind of, you know, wherever you like. In fact, that looks quite nice at the top, and it would obviously kind of work under there instead. So that's the first one that I've created, which I will move to one side. This one, which I absolutely loved, so I have actually Mod Podged this to kind of seal it. Yeah, had great fun making this and just love how it looks. So again, it would just kind of glue into the book wherever, you know, you fancied popping it onto the page. So exactly the same, you would glue it down on kind of either side and attach it in. Now, I put some lace trim on here because I obviously had intended for it to go with the lace trim on the outside of the pocket, if you see what I mean. So, you know, just really love that. And I Mod Podged over the whole of that. I might have already said that just now, so I apologise for that. And then the last one was this one, which obviously, as you can see, it's got slightly less flowers. It's with some sheet music here. I did also incorporate one of my bursting, you know, my bursting blooms envelopes there, but in a tiny version, which is a little pocket then for this little tiny postcard. So again, really love how this turned out, and that would look like that on a page. So again, obviously it could be, you know, kind of in the center, or if you prefer, you could obviously have it at the bottom, more like a pocket. So I think they're quite versatile. I think they're really cute. Let me just move that out of the way. So let's get making some. Now, if you're planning on crafting along with me, I always forget to tell you what you're going to need. So I've just got here some book page, which I'm going to use as my base. Then obviously you're going to need a selection of flowers that you have ready cut out. Now they could be from, you know, a magazine, from a book page, you know, or, you know, a kit that you may already have, or, you know, however. Now what I have done, and I hope nobody thinks this is a bit cheeky, but because I thought these looked so gorgeous, these two in particular, these two were using flowers from my Gorgeous Girls kit, which contains a few flowers, not a huge amount, because obviously that is not the predominant reason for that kit. So what I've done to kind of assist along with this is I have just produced an add-on for the Gorgeous Girls kit with literally just 2 pages full of all of the blooms and the little butterflies from the Gorgeous Girls kit. So because the next project that I'm going to do in the, hopefully the next video, or certainly one of the next videos, will use the lilac ones as well. So, or I will show you something using those. So I just wanted to produce this just in case, you know, because sometimes I watch videos and then I think, oh, I would love to, you know, to use what they've used. And they may have got it from a shop or something, you know, particularly kind of in the US or something, that we can't then get those supplies here. So this way, if you wanted to kind of recreate something exactly the same as this, you've then got obviously the means. Now I wanted to do this obviously as a really affordable download. So it's just 2 pages and it literally is like 99 cents. So, you know, hopefully it's kind of accessible for everybody. I have printed it on ivory cardstock. It's just 160 GSM cardstock. That for me, I found, is how it comes out nicest. I have got, just to demonstrate here, this was just printing it on normal copy paper, so it doesn't really affect the colours too much. It's pretty similar, so I just wanted to kind of demonstrate that. But yeah, so hopefully, you know, that's in my shop. If you wanted to check it out, I tried to make it kind of really nice and affordable for, you know, anyone who may want to do it. And yeah, so there we go. So grab your flowers, you know, be it from those ones or flowers that you already have. And obviously you will need some glue, your scissors, and then anything else that you may like to decorate with. Now here I have got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to use for our first one that we're going to do. Did I say Mod Podge? Can't remember whether I did or not. So you will need some Mod Podge. And I've got a little paintbrush here as well. So first of all, literally take your base. Now you can use anything at all for your base. I literally am using, you know, just some book page. You don't have to use book page, you can use anything at all. So here I've got just an A4 sheet, which is, you know, how I kind of tend to make my journals, just so as I can gauge the rough width that I need the belly band to be. So I'm just going to literally snip it down roughly to size, and then we can obviously tidy it up in a minute. But I mean, effectively, nobody really is going to see this. I mean, unless you're planning on doing one more like this style, in which case you will obviously see. But if you're doing the ones that are going to be completely covered up, you're not actually going to see it. Now, when I tried to make my first one, I was going to kind of double it up for thickness. But I mean, actually, they obviously get quite thick once they've got all the flowers glued on there. So I didn't find that that was necessary. Just literally one single page thickness is absolutely fine. Now, what I'm going to do is cut it on the text, so as I get rid of kind of any green. You don't have to, you know, worry, because it is going to be covered up, but I'm just kind of making absolutely sure by cutting off any kind of coloured parts that I really don't want showing. And then I'm just going to trim that down slightly more, just on the edge, because obviously we might have some flower overhang. So by trimming it slightly smaller, I then have a little bit of give there for if any flowers kind of overhang literally slightly. And I mean, obviously, you know, you adjust yours as you would like to use it. So literally that's all there is to it. Now I've obviously fussy cut some flowers that I thought would look pretty together. So these are a combination between obviously the ones that I have just shown you from obviously the Gorgeous Girls flower add-on, and then my original Fabulous Flowers kit. So these are the ones from that kit. Now this one here is actually one of those ones just from the regular copy paper. So I mean, as you can see, this is the cardstock. This is just some other cardstock that I have been kind of printing twice. You know, they really don't look any different. So get layering them around, you know, just to start with, so as you kind of gauge how you might want them to be placed around on your page. I mean, I just think these are really pretty, and I mean, again, a bit like the kind of Burst in Blooms envelopes, they're just really great fun to make. So I think I will definitely be making more of these, because, you know, it's always nice to kind of try some other fun things, isn't it? And literally just kind of place them around where you roughly think that you might like them to go. Now, obviously, because I have got some on the copy paper, I'm just keen to make sure that I get the copy paper tucked in, so that's not on an edge at all. So, you know, I'll just kind of be careful of that, because I obviously want to make sure that they're tucked in. I might have to cut out one or two more. So obviously these do take quite a bit of filling, you know, because they do actually, you know, they have got quite a lot on them. So I'm just going to literally get a couple more flowers from the kit here. So I'm just going to go for a couple of the red ones, I think. And again, actually, because I was obviously, you know, just working on this kit late last night, I have obviously double printed this, because whilst I was trying to get it, I just wanted the flowers so they weren't kind of touching, and you've got enough room then to actually cut them out. So hence, obviously, I was, you know, running them through the printer, checking them, printing them again. So just to save my card a little bit, I was, you know, using it again, double printing. So, which is why all my card seems to, more often than not, have bits on the back of it, because obviously that's, you know, what I've been kind of generally doing. Right, so we've got that one. So I might just pop that one in there. So, and that, to be honest, might be all that I actually need on there. So we'll obviously get more of a clue once we start gluing down, because sometimes, you know, once you get gluing, I find that then things move and they don't necessarily go quite 100% where you actually place them in the first place. So again, I'm just going to take my Mod Podge, just going to open it kind of to the side, and I like to just pour a little bit into the lid. Again, very messy craft techniques here. Now I'm going to do this actually on here. Again, this is just the back of one of those Christmas cards that I like to use as a kind of scrappy piece to be able to lean on. So just pop that like that. Now this one obviously is the copy paper, so I don't necessarily really want that kind of overhanging much. But you see, what I like to do is, you know, kind of so you don't have them all going in one direction. So it's quite nice to kind of place them down. I did bring some tissue along to mop up when I'm gluing. Actually, I just pop this one down here. And just literally stick them just exactly where you want them. Obviously here, I don't know what's going on with me today, but as you can see, I've now moved them completely from anywhere that they were actually placed in the first place. So they no longer resemble how I'd laid them out at all. That's fine. Obviously I'm aware that I have got a couple of paper ones in here, so I'm just kind of, you know, making sure that they're not on an edge at all, if that makes sense. I've got one up there. So I think the first one, I'm just going to glue this one down. And again, a bit like with the, you know, the Burst in Bloom envelopes, don't worry if you've Mod Podged over the edge of your flower, if you see what I mean, because, you know, providing you're not like me and stick it to the thing that you're leaning on, it's not a problem, you know, to have Mod Podged over the edge a little bit. That's absolutely fine. So I'd like to pop that on there. I mean, I just think, again, these are really quite fun to make. And I don't think I'd ever seen anyone do things like this in a journal. So, you know, whilst it's not exactly, you know, rocket science or anything that I've kind of come up with, I just thought it was something a little bit different that I don't think I had seen anyone kind of particularly doing or using. So, you know, I think I said in my last video, it was what I was kind of hoping was going to come from the series, was that we were going to kind of, through doing the series, come up with some ideas, you know, together, and techniques that we hadn't necessarily kind of used before. And obviously kind of the, I suppose, pressure of kind of doing the series makes you kind of try and explore and be a little bit more kind of adventurous than you would necessarily normally be, because obviously you don't want to kind of just, you know, churn out the same stuff every single time you do a video. So, you know, I hope that that's kind of working. Now, for me, I just feel there's a bit of a red imbalance now, so I'm just going to quickly fussy cut a couple more of these red ones. Just do that over my carrier bag. Right, now I have had that happen before. If you've watched my channel before, you might remember a time when I was doing, I think it was something for my actual junk journal, in my son's room, and my whole kind of camera setup fell off the desk, you know, onto my workspace. Well, that's just happened again. So obviously today I had pulled my camera setup forward, you know, so that you could kind of hopefully see more. And I was just waffling away, and just suddenly the whole thing fell down. So now I'm all flustered. So I was literally just fussy cutting those other red flowers out, and the whole thing just fell down. So I apologise for that. I can't remember quite what I was waffling about. I think I was saying that I was hoping that through this series we were going to learn some new techniques and things like that together. And, you know, I hope that you guys feel that, you know, that we are doing that is happening. Oh, that was scary when that just dropped down. You know, I mean, it wasn't like scary, terrifying, but it certainly made me jump, because I was leaning over the bag to the side doing my fussy cutting, and just literally out of nowhere the whole setup came crashing down on me. So yes, that was not great. Let me just pop that on there. So I mean, again, I'm, you know, I find this quite therapeutic actually, kind of, well, until the camera fell down, that is. I was finding it quite therapeutic. This whole kind of collaging and kind of just, it's quite a relaxing process. So, you know, if you give these a try, hopefully you will also find it, you know, find it to be relaxing and nice. So it's quite a calming kind of thing to do. So, you know, once you've kind of done all the hard work, which obviously is the fussy cutting, you know, be that out of your book pages or, you know, however. But as I've said before, I mean, I tend to do that kind of in the evenings whilst I'm watching TV and things like that. So, you know, to me, that's a bit just dead time anyway. I'm quite tired by that time. And, yeah. So once you've done the fussy cutting, which is kind of the hard bit, then this bit is actually quite fun to do, I think. Now, do we want that like that? I like that. I mean, again, this really probably doesn't matter to anybody else watching who is not a crafter. They would just not even notice the significance of even, you know, my dilemma there. But probably as fellow crafters, you guys probably do. Let's just stick this down. So yeah, bit of a blunder there with the camera. But talking of blunders, and I kept on meaning to say this, and I've forgotten for the last couple of videos that I've done. But again, if you've watched my channel recently, you may recall a few episodes back. It was a really cold day here, and I got up and, you know, made some soup in the morning. Really looked forward to it all day. I mean, we have soups a lot. I've talked about this before, because they're just really quick and easy to make, and, you know, they're quite cheap, they're quite filling, the kids all like them, you know, and obviously they're just easy for me to kind of knock up a soup, really. But we all like them. So I'd made this lovely tomato soup, and I could smell it every time I kind of walked into the kitchen all day. I couldn't wait. I picked up the children from school. They went and picked up a lovely loaf of bread for them to have, you know, nice sandwiches with the soup and things. Was really looking forward to it. And we all settled down that evening, and we were watching a movie, and I said, right, I'm just going to go and heat the soup up. And I went into the kitchen, was heating the soup up. I thought, I'll just quickly season it a bit with some salt and pepper, which, you know, I hadn't done that when I made the soup earlier. And as I did this with the grinder, just check on your phone, as I did this with the grinder, the whole lid came off of the grinder. I flung my arms obviously out of the way. Salt went everywhere. But strangely enough, not in the soup. I couldn't see salt in the soup, really, where I expected it to be kind of a carpet of soup all over, salt all over it. Well, it wasn't there. So I thought, well, hopefully the soup has kind of, you know, I've moved before it kind of spilt all in the soup. Well, no. The salt must have been so much salt that it must have just literally, in a huge glut, just dropped to the bottom of the pan. Needless to say, the soup was really, really, really salty. It was like eating literally seawater. It was just revolting. So I tried to rescue it. So I did 1 bowl of soup to another tin of tomatoes, a carton of passata, some more onions, peppers and carrots. And it was about 45 minutes later that we finally had something resembling soup. But yeah, just 1 bowl to all of that. So I dread to think how much salt actually did drop in there. Anyway, sorry for boring you with that story, but my gosh, it was just such a frustrating thing to happen because I had looked forward to it all day. And when we were actually then finally tucking into it at about 7:30, I said to the kids and my husband, you know, oh my gosh, I had looked forward to this soup all day and had even talked about it on my video, how much I was looking forward to eating it. I can't believe the disaster that happened. So, yeah, I just thought I would share that with you. Now, I'm just literally inking over the entire thing here, just so it looks nice and vintage and grungy and just gorgeous, you know. So, just going over the whole thing. And I did mention kind of in my last video that my ink pad's a bit coming to, you know, the end of its life. It's drying up quite a lot. So I'm having to kind of really, really go over it a lot of times to get the ink to really kind of come out on there. So that's our belly band. If I just bring that folded piece again. So that's how it would obviously look on the page. So, you know, obviously it could be left like that. It looks very pretty as it is. But as you know, my thing is kind of, I love to really over decorate things. So I'm just going to take some of this little flower trim here. Just trim that down. And I thought we could just kind of decorate it a bit further because I love the look of this gold colour against these rich kind of reds and kind of coral type colours of the flowers. Just kind of complements it really well. I mean, this one obviously is very similar colours, but it's got the addition of the blues. And obviously, as you can see there, I've just used one of those flowers there. Just looks so pretty. So obviously, you know, when you're doing yours, feel free to kind of play around and, you know, try different things. You may want to have kind of a butterfly there. You could use a little journaling spot somewhere on there. We could have that kind of over there. Might look quite nice. Whoops. You know, you could really kind of play around and make it your own and decorate it and embellish it as you think. Now let me just go to my little bag of lace to my side. I'm kind of a little bit scared now in case the iPad and everything drops off again. And obviously I was incredibly lucky because I've said before that my messy surface here is one of those glass worktop safers, you know, that you use for obviously chopping vegetables and things. So obviously the iPad landed face down. I was a little bit worried that it was going to have actually smashed it. So I was incredibly lucky that it didn't. Right, so I'm just going to go for a little bit of lace trim along here. Like that. Just cut that slightly. And I think I said recently, I've taken to, I quite like having my lace hanging off at the edges. I think it's really nice. So what we could do is kind of have a journaling spot there, tucked in like that. Might look quite nice. We could also have these gorgeous flowers, which I know I've used these a lot in this Fabulous Flowers series, but I really love them. So just in case you haven't caught any other earlier episodes, I just kind of mention again, they're from that Wish app, which I'd heard Patricia mention in one of her videos. So thank you very much, Patricia, because it was all when you showed your stamps from there that I kind of thought, oh, I'm going to go on and have a look. And yeah, I got this. I don't know what it came up under. Things are very kind of random on there, and they sometimes kind of appear. I'm just going to Mod Podge this actually on. They sometimes come up, you know, when you search for the most unlikely things. So I'm pretty sure I wasn't searching for like flower trim or anything, and it just came up. But I may have been searching for lace trim or decorative trim or something like that. And it obviously did come up, so, but I really love it. So if you wanted to kind of have a look on there, it's just the Wish app. And I mean, obviously it's kind of like all sellers from China. So I mean, obviously things take a little while to come, but not overly long. And yeah, you know, often the postage is kind of the dearest thing that you're paying for. So I don't know how much this was, I can't remember, but no more than probably £2 or £3, including the postage. So I think that looks gorgeous like that. So I'm just going to pop this flower on here and then just finish it off with this one just in the centre like that. Okay, so, you know, super simple to make, but really pretty. And obviously on this one, as you can see, I've kind of used some paper flowers at the edge. I've popped a little butterfly on and a little bow at the side. and some diamante trim. So, you know, you can kind of play around and kind of then decorate them kind of as you wish. Obviously this one I have Mod Podged over the whole thing, which, you know, I quite like that. This one I will probably just leave matte, but so you can kind of play around and obviously alter them how you want them to be. Let me check what the time is here. Right, I'm trying to remember what time it was when I actually managed to salvage the dropped iPad. So we might have time to make, you know, just one more. So just to kind of, you know, show you how they would look kind of in different colourways, I suppose. But I mean, you probably, you know, I'm sure got the gist of it. And probably this is a little bit now boring, kind of going over old ground. But so again, just cut down my book page that I'm using as my base. And I will just, again, take it in slightly more at the edge. Oops. Like that. Now, again, I've just got some flowers here that I have already cut out to the side that I thought I could use for this. Just so that I spare you the, you know, me fussy cutting all the flowers kind of on video endlessly. So I've got all of these lovely blue ones here. These are from just the Fabulous Flowers kit, and yeah, I just thought we'd kind of have a play with these lovely blue ones. So they've all been printed on the 160 GSM cardstock. As you can see, some of them have obviously got old printings on the back, but you know, that's absolutely fine. So again, just placing them around, you know, roughly where you think you might like them. So maybe we'll have that one sideways. You could have that one kind of poking out above it. Could have this one maybe like that. And I mean, as I say, once I get gluing, no doubt all of these are going to move around anyway. And, you know, no doubt people watching will just think, well, why did she bother at all placing them down? Because she's not kept them at all where she actually said in the first place. So, but at least we kind of then have a rough guide as to where we want to go. So actually I might prefer to have it this way around. So there's something about this that isn't quite working for me for some reason. So what I might do is glue one or two down, so as I've got a kind of starting point. So I'll just glue that one down. You know, and then I'm working with things that are actually fixed and not constantly moving around. So it just makes it slightly easier. That one down, and then this one here. I think what it was for me, I had all the same size flowers kind of along the top, which didn't then look quite right. Wasn't kind of I might have that problem again, but down the bottom now, because obviously I've only just really kind of noticed, but obviously all my flowers are similar sizes. So let me just have a look in my little offcuts to the side and see whether I've got any more in slightly different sizes that I could just cut down some more. See, I thought I would be really organised and do all my fussy cutting ahead of time, but I obviously hadn't taken into account that I had then got all same size flowers. But I guess this is quite good doing it like this on a video, because this is the type of thing that you may want to consider, obviously, when doing these, is that, you know, you may prefer it with random size flowers. You might not, you know, you might not. But certainly it's something that I will now kind of bear in mind in future, is make sure I've got a variety of kind of different size flowers cut out. So, there we go. But I do think these are really, you know, really pretty. So I definitely think they're something I will use a few more times, because it's quite nice to have something a bit different, isn't it? So I might just kind of try and keep a few ready cut in my stash. Right, I might get rid of this one for a moment. Pop that there. Oops. I think the other thing, which I hadn't really noticed, they're all going in the same direction, which I wasn't so keen on. So again, another thing there to bear in mind. So I like these little ones here, so I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and blow these. It's because I mentioned wind there. I then said and blow these down. Throw caution to the wind and stick these down. This is not a good morning, is it? Yeah, so I don't know quite, obviously, you know, how these videos will be uploaded, because, you know, and I had said I wasn't going to kind of do this, but I just think when you're doing a series like this, I'm going to cut these small ones off, because for this particular project, I prefer them not on there. Yeah, I had said I wasn't going to kind of get bogged down with, you know, the rushing and kind of having to be filming way in advance, but I think when you're doing these series, you know, you are very aware that actually, you know, people are kind of, if people are following along, that they are kind of maybe waiting for the next episode. And I know that certainly when I'm watching something on telly, I hate waiting for the next episode. So I'm very conscious of that, you know, and I am therefore trying to kind of film a lot of episodes in a condensed time so that I can upload them at a regular kind of interval, I suppose, for you guys. But hence that makes it slightly confusing, because when I'm doing them, if I mention it's a day of the week, say, it's probably not that day when I actually come around to uploading the video, because it may have been 10 days ago that I actually filmed the video, if that makes sense there. So now I can't remember now what I've just done with that piece, because it had one more flower on that I thought I was going to use, and now I can't find it. Oh well, never mind. Let's just go with what we've got. Let's try this one over here instead. See, sometimes just literally changing them around completely just makes them kind of slot in better. So I kind of have them more like that, and then I've got a little one we could have in there. What do you think? Still not 100% decided on this, so just bear with me for a moment. Again, I know this is not very exciting to watch, so. Oh, I'm going to pop this one down here, because again, sometimes it's easier to work once you've actually kind of committed, and perhaps I'll separate these out, because again, for this particular thing, might be easier if it wasn't a large piece. So I might have that kind of there. Yeah, so if it gets a bit confusing when I'm talking about a day, that's the reason why, is because I've maybe filmed, you know, bulk filmed these in advance, you know, so that I can be uploading them at a better kind of speed for the people watching. Right, yes, I much prefer it like that. So I'm going to go for this one first. Just apply the glue. There we go. And then pop. We have that one there, and that smaller one. I think we have that smaller one up there. So I'm going to stick the smaller one down next, like that. Okay. And these couple down here. Just check that I'm going to actually kind of cover up the majority of the book page here. I mean, this one actually could do with probably coming in slightly more because I didn't have so much overhang, if you see what I mean. Right, so I'm going to glue this little tiny piece now, like that. Just pop that down there. And obviously if you've got some little gaps, like here, there's a little gap, it really doesn't matter because, you know, when you ink it up, all those gaps are going to then be, you know, pretty much hidden. So don't kind of get too worried if you've got gaps. Here we go. There we go. And I'll just stick this one down next. You know, I'm probably making more of a fuss than I need to be because actually, you know, they look pretty nice. However, they're kind of layered up. They look pretty. You know, so I probably really don't need to be making such an issue out of what way round the flower is going to go and, you know, what have you. But sometimes you kind of just get a bit hung up on things, don't you? And then, you know, so what I'm going to do is just take this down a little bit, which is also quite nice because, you know, obviously you can kind of alter these shapes of the flowers slightly if they're not kind of quite working how you wanted them to work. Then you can obviously trim them down a little bit. Okay. Just pop that on there. And I just wanted it kind of with the minimal overhang at the side. And yep, I have now glued it to the page beneath. Right. And I've said this 100 times, I'm sure, but I know it's, you know, it's supposed to be a craft video and not a comedy sketch, but, you know, that's just how things are sometimes when you craft with someone who's such a messy crafter. It kind of all goes to pot. So, right, there we go. So, they're all glued down now. Let me move the brush and everything else of the way. Let me actually check that I'm in frame after all that mucking about. Yes, okay, I'm in frame. Again, dry ink pad, so I'm going to have to kind of really... Oh, it's a bit more inky now. Look, it's coming out quite inky on here, so there we go. In contrast to everything I have been saying about how dry my ink pad was getting, it's now looking really inky. So, oh well, never mind. Right. So, like that. Gorgeous. you know, oh, I think it's gorgeous. I hope that you guys think it's really pretty too. So what we could do, again, I'll just get some lace trim from my little stash of lace. I have got that wide lace trim that we've used a few times, and obviously I used the wide lace across the bottom on this one, so we could kind of attach something like that across the bottom, which looks really pretty. So again, I will just, for speed, do this. Actually, I'm just going to do it from my reel, because that one was actually cut to the length of a journal page, so I don't really want to kind of use it because there will be some wastage. So just going to ink this up slightly before gluing it on, so we've just got a good one to go kind of across the bottom there, and then we'll just literally hot glue for speed it onto our little piece here. Like that. Now obviously on this side I'm going to just trim it quite close because you know, I'm mindful of it actually sticking into the page, you know, sticking into a journal, so I don't want it kind of overhanging too much. So that looks really pretty. And then what we could do is we could finish it off with maybe another little flower here. So again, just going to ink these up slightly more so they're kind of more in keeping colour wise. Just trim these down. Okay. So I mean, I think that looks really pretty, so I might just go for that. Pop it down like that there. And then obviously you could have some pearl trim or some diamante trim, so let me just rummage through my little stash again in my little tin that I think I said last time, you know, it's growing ever bigger, and yeah, certainly the lid would definitely not go on it, you know, so it's lucky that I'm crafting now at my desk and the lid doesn't need to go on it, because it wouldn't have a chance of going on. So I'm just going to take this little tiny piece there, just get rid of the little strands at the ends like that. Just have that like that. Looks quite pretty. I was actually looking for my pearl trim because I thought maybe the pearl would look really pretty with that blue, but I can't seem to find it, and I don't want to obviously kind of really bore everyone again, you know, looking for it. So, and I have just, while I was rummaging, just found this little typewriter from my die cut pieces, and strangely it just kind of caught my eye and I thought, oh, perhaps that could go on there. So I'm just going to ink around it like that. Could have the typewriter on there. It's quite pretty, doesn't it? Or actually, I would quite like to have had some perfume bottles. I'm not even sure whether I've got any of my little perfume bottle die cuts even here. Let me just have a quick look in my little expandable file where I kind of keep all things that I've ready fussy cut. So there may or may not be anything suitable. You know, these are literally just kind of a handful of things that I just happen to have ready cut out to use. But whether or not they're then going to be kind of things suitable for a project is kind of a whole other thing altogether, isn't it? Right, let's just see. This is just printed on some thick copy paper, so some like, you know, luxury kind of paper. So I just ink that up. It's not printed on ivory or anything, so I just ink it like that. Ooh, that looks quite nice, doesn't it? just ink up this one as well. So you could just have kind of those two bottles on there. Maybe a bottle and a typewriter. Well, I quite like this one. So again, I'm just going to use Mod Podge, I think, to stick this on. Just because it's right beside me, and obviously I've got the brush all kind of ready to use, so I might as well kind of make the most of it being there. So I'll just glue that like that, and then let me just see whether I've got anything else kind of slightly different shape. That one, yeah, I quite like that one. So this one's been printed on ivory cardstock, so it's obviously not so stark, so I'm just going to ink that up again so as it just kind of blends in a little bit better. Like that. Just literally kind of pop it down like that. So you know, you could use some of your stamped images, or you know, anything that you like, just that you think looks quite pretty. You know, I mean, I always love butterflies, so I'm sure that most people have got some butterfly stamps, so just kind of pop on a fussy cut stamped butterfly, or you know, anything you like. Or you know, obviously you could leave them plain, they look perfectly pretty plain. It's just that obviously for me, I struggle to do that. So everything just has to be madly decorated. Now I'm still hunting around for that pearly trim, so it's very annoying because I just wanted to see how that would look as opposed to the Diamante. And the second that I glue that down, I'm going to spot that pearl trim, and it's just going to be so annoying. There we go. Here we go. Got it. Right. For me, I just, you know, I love that Diamante trim, as you know if you watch my channel. But for some reason, that pearl one just looks lovely on there. So I'm just going to literally just wipe off that big glob of glue that was hanging off of my glue gun. So just going to kind of pop it on like that. And when I use this pearl one, for some reason I quite like it kind of irregular. I don't necessarily like it straight, so hence I'm not just running a kind of straight bit of the glue down. I don't know why, but for some reason this one for me just shouts out it doesn't really want to be straight. It kind of seems to want to be curved. Right, there we go. Now I think that just looks super cute, really, really cute. So let me pull in the blank journal again. I know this is now getting a bit protracted, but I just want to show you kind of the couple of things that we've made now in this episode. So we've got this one, which, how pretty is that? So again, you would obviously just glue down here, pop it on there, and then obviously just, let me find something for a journal card. Here we go. You would just literally pop your things in like that. And then the other one that we made, this gorgeous one in these like reddy orangey tones, again exactly the same thing. So you would just glue it here and here, pop it on, and then just again use it like that. So I mean, I know they're not kind of, you know, rocket science, they're not really revolutionary or anything like that, but I thought they were a bit of a new idea. I don't think I've seen anyone do things like that, you know, before. And I just love them. I think they're really fun to make. You know, for me, like I said, I find them quite therapeutic to actually kind of sit and make them. So I hope that you like them, and I hope that video was okay. I know it did get a little bit kind of scatty in the middle there, but it obviously threw me a bit when my camera setup fell down on me, so I do apologise. But yeah, I hope that you like them, and I hope you'll join me for the next episode. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks, Em. Bye.